Sunday. Today we are talking about one of the 5 staples that make up ice creams. 5 things include ice, protein, fat, sugar, and air. We're talking about fat. Fat does 3 major things in ice cream. It's called ice cream for a reason. You need the cream because the cream has the fat. The first thing that it affects is the flavor. It affects the texture, and it affects how air is stabilized inside your ice cream when you churn it.
That affects flavor, not just by adding its own flavor, which it does do, but by also being able to absorb other flavors that you add to your base in order to carry it through to the end. Think like when we make coffee ice cream or mint ice cream using fresh mint, you steep those ingredients in cream for about a half an hour while it's warm, so that the fat can hold on to that coffee or mint flavor and then carries it through to the end.
That also affects how a flavor is received once you actually eat the ice cream. The more fat, the longer it's going to take for that flavor to present itself, and then the longer it's going to linger on your tongue afterwards. Example, strawberry ice cream versus strawberry sorbet. When you take a bite of strawberry sorbet, you get a burst of strawberry flavor and then immediately it goes away. Strawberry ice cream, on the other hand, you kind of get creamy flavors, then strawberry, and then it kind of lingers on your tongue as the fat melts. Does that make sense? Now let's talk about texture. Structure of your ice cream pretty much comes from fat. Without fat, your ice cream would be a block of ice and then melt in 3 seconds. Picture, humor me here, have a stick of butter and an ice cube, and I put both of them in the freezer for about 2 hours. Both are gonna be pretty solid. Now take that same stick of butter and that same ice cube and put it on your counter for about 10 minutes or so. Your ice cube becomes a puddle, as your stick of butter is still a stick of butter. It's just softer. That's because ice has a melting point of 32 degrees. So anything higher than 32 degrees, you're getting a puddle. Fat, on the other hand, has this magical melting point of 90 degrees. It's just above room temperature, but just below body temperature, making it so that it's soft enough to scoop into your bowl, but it won't fully melt until you actually put a spoonful of ice cream into your mouth. Lastly, how it stabilizes air. This is the reason why when you whip something, it actually turns into something fluffy. Like whipped cream, for example. Regular heavy cream, you whip it in a mixer, it incorporates air, and you have fluffy whipped cream. Try to put orange juice in that same mixture and then whip it. You're not gonna get orange whipped cream. It's not gonna work. It's because orange juice has no fat. Okay, imagine fat like a bubble. And imagine that bubble has this protective shield around it. Nothing will stick to it. It doesn't want to hang out with anybody, doesn't want to see anybody, doesn't want to cling to anything. Pretty much exactly my social habits. And with that shield, it can reflect any air, any other stuff it's mixing with. It gives it its space so that it doesn't have to mix with anything. Now imagine you start to churn your ice cream, freezing things, and you're mixing them. Now this fat bubble just got freezing cold and it turns pretty much like rock solid. And since you're also mixing while you're freezing, now all these rock solid fat bubbles are knocking against each other. When that happens, pieces of their shield breaks off. Now that portion of the fat bubble that's not protected will then start to cling to other things that it's around, like air. Eventually, enough broken fat bubbles will cling to the same air bubble and will trap that air bubble in your ice cream. So, what we learned today? That is extremely important to making ice cream, and I will fight to my deathbed anyone who says otherwise. Adds 3 important things to ice cream, which is its flavor, its texture, and how it traps air. Same with the fat in your ice cream or using alternatives to milk and to cream will ultimately affect all 3 of those things with your ice cream. Does that make sense? Pretty much the basics of everything you need to know about fat when it has to deal with ice cream. Knowing this stuff will be important and very useful for you if you follow along in the next coming weeks. I will see you on Wednesday for a new recipe video, and then about a week from now on Sunday for some more science. Enjoy your day.